You met Andy Griffith because of this building, is that right?
Yeah.
This building,
30 Rockefeller Plaza. This iconic New York building is where it all began for a legendary partnership. When the Andy Griffith Show debuted on October 3, 1960, it didn't just become a hit, it became the heartbeat of American living rooms. For 8 seasons, it never dropped below 7th place in the ratings, eventually retiring at number 1. But behind the slow mornings and easygoing charm of Mayberry, a quiet exodus was happening. Fans watched as familiar faces, most notably Don Knotts, walked away from the town they called home. Before his passing in 2006, Don Knotts finally pulled back the curtain on the real reasons the original cast moved on. Today at Prestige Buzz, we're diving into the truth behind the scenes of Mayberry. Mayberry felt like a place viewers already knew. At the center was Sheriff Andy Taylor, the steady hand played by Andy Griffith. But the spark of the show was undoubtedly Deputy Barney Fife. Don Knotts poured everything into Barney, the nervous energy, the overblown confidence, and the absolute chaos wrapped in a tiny uniform. The show's success was astronomical, spinning off hits like Gomer Pyle, USMC, and launching careers. A young Ron Howard, Opie, would go on to become one of Hollywood's greatest directors. Yet, while the world saw a peaceful utopia, the actors were navigating a much more complicated reality. Jesse Donald Knotts didn't stumble into comedy, he fought for it. Born in 1924 in West Virginia, he started as a ventriloquist in church basements. After serving in the Army during World War II, making GIs laugh in the Pacific, he headed to New York. Everything changed in 1955 when he met Andy Griffith on Broadway in No Time for Sergeants. Their chemistry was instant. When Andy got his own show in 1960, Don called him up and suggested the sheriff might need a deputy. Andy agreed, and a legend was born. Why did the heartbeat of the show leave? For years, the story was simple: Don Knotts wanted a movie career. While he did sign a multi-picture deal with Universal, the deeper reason was financial. Andy Griffith owned a majority stake in the series. He was building an empire. Don Knotts, despite winning 5 Emmys and carrying half the comedic weight, was a salaried employee. By season 5, Don was earning roughly $1,250 per episode, a respectable sum, but a pittance compared to the millions the show was generating. When a private meeting to discuss ownership and a higher stake fell through due to a tragic miscommunication between the two friends, Don realized he had to leave Mayberry to secure his future. He chose the big screen not just for fame, but for the fairness he hadn't found in Mayberry. While Barney's exit was about business, other departures were fueled by friction. Frances Bavier, who played the beloved Aunt Bee, famously struggled with her role. Off-camera, she was nothing like the warm, apron-clad woman on screen. Bavier was a classically trained New York actress who resented the rural humor. She struggled with Andy Griffith's penchant for practical jokes and loud laughter on set. The tension was so thick that she and Don Knotts rarely spoke a word to each other during the entire 5 years they worked together. Decades later, when Andy and Ron Howard tried to visit her in retirement, she turned them away at the door. It wasn't until the very end of her life that she reached out to Andy to apologize for her behavior, admitting that the fault had been hers. Eleanor Donahue, who played Andy's early love interest Ellie Walker, left after just 1 season. She felt buried by the scripts, which increasingly gave all the funny lines to Don Knotts. The stress caused her significant health issues, and she eventually asked to be released from her contract. Then there was the Warren Ferguson era. After Don left, producers tried to replace him with comedian Jack Burns. But the chemistry was gone. The writers tried to force Barney-style lines onto a new character, and audiences hated it. Warren disappeared after 11 episodes, erased from the show's history as if he never existed. Not all departures were permanent. Howard McNear, who played the quirky Floyd Lawson, suffered a massive stroke during season 3. Most thought his career was over. However, the cast and crew loved him so much they modified the set. They built special supports so he could act while seated, allowing Floyd to remain a staple of the town until 1967. It remains one of the most heartwarming examples of the cast's real-life bond. Off-screen, Don was a world away from the bumbling Barney. He was a quiet, sophisticated man who was surprisingly successful with the ladies, often described as having the swagger of a young Frank Sinatra. He battled private demons, including severe hypochondria and a degenerative eye disease, macular degeneration. Yet, he never lost his kindness. Even in his final years, he reunited with Andy on Matlock, proving that while the business of Hollywood had pulled them apart, their friendship was unbreakable. In a strange twist of fate, Ron Howard revealed in 2025 that he and Don Knotts were actually distant cousins, a fact they never knew while filming. Don Knotts passed away on February 24, 2006, at age 81. He was laid to rest at Westwood Memorial Park, but his legacy lives on in every nervous yo and every accidental gunshot from Barney Fife's single bullet. He left Mayberry not because he stopped loving it, but because he knew his worth. He proved that even the little guy with a nervous twitch could become a titan of the industry. What do you think? Was the Andy Griffith Show ever the same after Don Knotts left? Let us know your favorite Barney Fife moment in the comments below. If you enjoyed this deep dive into TV history, make sure to like this video and subscribe to Prestige Buzz. Don't forget to hit that bell notification so you never miss a story from the golden age of Hollywood.